So it's estimated that by 2030, AI will touch around 40% of jobs. 300 million full-time roles will be exposed to automation. That's insane amount. So I kind of see three possible futures here. So one is the good future, the richer future, where you use AI and you actually do less work, which, to be honest, I don't think it's very likely. Then we have a second option, which is gig hell, which basically means that you use AI, but you work more since companies now expect you to do more because AI basically handles a lot of the stuff. So you just work more and you don't get any benefit from that. And then there is a third future, which is very bleak, which basically just means that your job is no longer available because AI deleted it. And at least right now, looking where things are heading, it doesn't really look good. And I think the only way to survive this immense change that is coming to our society, especially in the next decade, is to take things into your own hands. And in this video, I want to show you how you can do that. You already feel that the world is changing around you. That's why you're watching this video, because you feel that AI will probably affect your job. And you see that, everything's getting more expensive. Inflation is just kind of going through the roof. Companies are not even hiring anymore. IT is not as good as a job sort of industry, the tech industry, as it used to be. And honestly, I don't think I need to tell you how AI will change your work. Honestly, you shouldn't really care. The most important thing is that it will affect your job, probably in a more negative way, unless you make sure to turn this into a positive thing for you. Being employed is no longer guaranteed anymore. We're not in the same age where people work 20, 30 years in the same company. Some companies don't even last that long or change so quickly that it's impossible to say what type of needs the company will have even in just a decade, not to mention 20, 30 years from now. So the past where we had jobs for a very long time, even same jobs for a very long time, that is no longer the case. If you wait until your job is basically automated by AI and you wait until you are fired, it's gonna be too late by then. You need to take action beforehand. So there are estimates that entry and mid-level white-collar jobs will go first. That makes sense. AI will automate the most basic, the most uninteresting parts of the task, which usually are entry and mid-level. That means that seniors are still okay, but they will be affected as well. But entry and mid-level jobs, those are basically going to be gone. Then it's estimated that 10 to 20% of unemployment risk within the next decade. That's crazy amount. Up to 50% white-collar roles are at risk by 2030. That's basically just a coin flip. So if you have a job right now, it's like 50% chance that you will have that same job in the next 5 years. That's crazy. 2/3 of jobs will be exposed to AI. And then the worst thing is that if AI creates less roles, companies are hiring less, that means that there is an oversupply of labor, meaning too many people want the same job, the jobs that are still available. But then it means that the wages will erode. That means that companies will start paying less and less for the same amount of work because there are so many people wanting that work. Okay, so the future looks very bleak, but what can you do? You clicked on this video to find out what is it possible for you. And the answer is you need to start freelancing. And before you click off this video and laugh about it, just hear me out. I've been a freelancer for the last 10 years and now I earn over $150,000 per year from freelancing. And I'm not afraid of AI at all. On the contrary, I think it's gonna benefit me even more. Those who choose freelancing in this AI age will win, and those who don't are gonna be left behind. And I wanna list some of the key things why I think freelancing is the answer to this next and upcoming wave of AI change and our society change. And the last 2 points are probably one of the most important ones. But let's start from the beginning. So first is move fast and keep the gains. So if you are a freelancer, you are able to utilize AI for yourself instead of a company utilizing you for AI, or like even exchanging your workflow for AI. So if you are a freelancer, you can adopt new AI tools today without needing to wait for any corporation to do it for you. You can rewire your workflow, you can charge for outcomes and keep all of the upside for yourself. So AI can boost your output, meaning that if you do the same work that takes like 20 hours, but with AI now it takes you 10 hours, you get those 10 hours back for yourself, either through leisure time, you can just sit down and watch Netflix, or you can use that 10 hours to actually find another client and do the same thing for them and charge them for the same thing. So it doubles your income. So in this case, AI actually boosts your productivity and boosts your income because you can do more with that. Because if you're employed and you just use AI to, automate your workflows, then you still need to be like 40, 50 hours at the office. You still need to do other things. So you cannot take a day off just because you finished work early. As a freelancer, you can. And this is one of the biggest differences here. For example, what I do and what an in-house SEO manager does we're pretty much doing the same things, but I am getting paid way more because I charge for the results and I optimize everything to make sure that I spend the least amount of time for the maximum amount of results. That's why I can take like 5, 6, 7 clients at a time and get way more than just working at one agency with one salary for the same amount of hours. The next thing is that you spread your risk when you do freelancing. So multiple clients always beats one paycheck. If one client, they cut the budget, they bankrupt, they go out of business, or they automate AI and they become an AI company or something like that, you don't lose your whole paycheck. You still have other clients. So let's say you have like 5 clients, each bringing you like 20% of the revenue. If one client goes away, that's only 20% of the revenue. And if you're employed and you're fired or whatever, you lose 100%. So you're spreading the risk if you do freelancing because you can work with multiple clients all at the same time. For example, I right now work with 7 different clients. So even if one drops off for whatever reason, I still have 6 other clients that I work with. And in that meantime, I can start looking for another client. So it's just a never-ending loop of income that you're in. In this new AI age, you need to sell this scarce stuff. So clients do pay for judgment, taste, and accountability, exactly what AI to this day cannot do. So, for example, I sell results to my clients. I don't sell tasks. When you're employed, you're mainly working on an hourly rate for fixed amount of tasks that you do. Yes, there are KPIs, yes, there are outcomes, but you're not really selling the outcomes. It's not dependent, like your salary, it's not really dependent on the specific outcomes. You just need to do the bare minimum and that's it. You will get the same salary every single month. With freelancing, it's a whole different game. When I sell results to my clients, this is the thing that you cannot automate with AI, at least and I think it's going to be possible for a very, very long time. You cannot just go to AI and say, hey, bring me more revenue. That's not how it works. But you can go to a client as a freelancer and say, hey, I sell a service that will brings you more revenue. So you can position yourself and you can attach your specific freelancing skills to the specific outcomes that people are looking for. The whole thing shifts from, hey, I do task A, B, and C to, hey, I provide you this specific outcome that you need. And until AI will be able to provide these, like the actual results, where the whole world is going to be way, way different, because then everybody's going to be out of the job. And I don't think that's even remotely possible, because there are so many different things attached to the actual results, and people are still looking for judgment, taste, accountability. People still like to work with people, but in a very different sense than we used to. When you're a freelancer, proof beats paperwork. So you ship work, you show many case studies, you share screenshots. That's what I do with all of my clients, and nobody cares what kind of university I went to, what kind of degrees I have. Basically, all of the education courses and whatever, nobody really cares about that. But they do care about the results, case studies, outcomes. For example, clients care who I worked with before and what results I have achieved for those specific people or for those clients. So when you're a freelancer, you're forced to look from that perspective. Because if you work at a job, you don't really need to prove your work. I mean, if you work at some companies, that is the only proof that you need, but you don't really showcase the actual achievements. Yes, you can talk about your achievements, but usually if you just worked at a company, that's usually enough, because they just evaluate you at the interview, and that's basically it. So with freelancing, if a client wants to hire you as a freelancer, they don't care about your interview skills or whatever. They care about the results. Who you worked with, what kind of your results achieved, what kind of case studies you have, do you have screenshots of your work. By being a freelancer, it shifts your focus to only care about the results. And if you care about the results, then you can only sell outcomes. And outcomes are the best thing to sell, because that's what people, companies, and clients actually need. Another important part of being a freelancer is that it forces you to reskill on the fly. When you're a freelancer, you always work around real problems and real solutions, and you need to keep up to date with what is happening. If you're employed by the company, that training, everything moves slowly, you usually don't need to know the latest and greatest strategies for advertising or for whatever that you do. It's usually a lot easier in that sense. You can probably skim a lot of the things and just, do a bare minimum. Again, if you're a freelancer, it forces you to be the best. So naturally, by freelancing, you always are kept on an edge. For example, I always learn and try new things because I want to elevate myself as a freelancer. And I know that if I learn something or try new things that work even better than the previous clients that I work with, then that makes I can even charge more for that. I can, maybe I can do less work because I found the specific things that work even better. So there is all of the upside that comes from training. You can actually keep that, because if at the company, if you learn something, if you do an amazing advertising campaign or save a company some money, it usually doesn't really translate to you in any way. I mean, yeah, the possibility of promotion is possible. Sometimes companies pay bonuses for that, but I think for the amount of value that you generate, you are getting a very, very small pie. In freelancing, all of the upside is on you. So whatever you create, you get all of the benefits. Another great thing for freelancers is that you can control your offer, meaning you can choose the niche, you can choose the promise, and you can choose the scope that you work with. So let's say if some platforms or policies change, or like SaaS companies are being automated by AI, you can go and start to work with other businesses, with local businesses, with e-commerce stores. So by being a freelancer and having multiple clients, it allows you to shift the niche that you're in a lot easier. So if you see that tech space, for example, is being completely automated by AI, but local businesses don't even know how to do AI, you probably can be the AI operations specialist for those local businesses, as an example. So there is a lot more flexibility with who you can work. If you are a developer, you probably want to work at tech companies. They pay the most amount of money, they have the most amount of benefits. You don't want to work for some local IT firm, very small one that barely pays anything. But if you're a freelancer, you might be able to offer that local firm something very specific that doesn't require a full-time job, but it gets you a $1,000 to $2,000 retainer to do something for them. And then you only need to spend like 3 to 5 hours per week on that specific thing. So you can see how it allows you to work with a way broader range of clients and companies than if you are just looking to be an employee at a specific company. For example, I've worked from small local businesses, e-commerce shops, to big worldwide SaaS companies. I've kind of the range of different companies that I worked with is insane, and each one of them has their own pros and cons, but the ability for me to work with such a big range, I think, is one of the greatest things for freelancing. Because if one area, one industry, one niche is affected somehow by AI or automation, you can move to the next one. And it does, because you're still doing basically the same work, just for a different industry. I already kind of mentioned it, but the next best thing is that you can keep all of the upside that you generate when you're a freelancer. So you can productize, for example, your service, your process. You can stack retainers. You can add performance fees. There is no salary cap. You can charge whatever you want, and you can work with as many clients as you possibly can. It's just the way everything is set up is just much better. Like if I would work now at the marketing agency, I would be paid, oh God, I would earn probably like in Lithuania, I don't know, like $30,000-$40,000 per year. And now I'm getting like over 150,000, like 3 times as much by doing the exact same work, just by doing it myself. And it's crazy to me that people are still kind of working at these. I mean, I kind of understand that this is happening because not a lot of people has yet discovered the ability to become a freelancer, and sometimes people are afraid to sell themselves. There is a confidence gap. So I kind of get it, but it's crazy to me how much of a bigger difference it is to work on yourself, because you can keep all of the upside that you generate. If I do a work and I come up with a process that takes me 50% less time to do the same task, I save those hours for myself. I can go and spend time with my dog. I can go and spend time with my wife. It's just incredible incredible life quality aspect that nobody really thinks about when they think about freelancing. And as an example, I worked with a marketing agency company, and because I was a freelancer for them, I was able to negotiate a specific profit sharing agreement with them. If you're an employee, those kinds of things don't really happen. And that upside that I generated, now I was motivated and I had a profit sharing agreement. It's amazing. And then on top of that, I now work with 7 different retainers, 7 different clients. And so about 20% of my overall sum comes from just one client. So it's amazing how much you can do with just working by yourself. And now the last 2, which I think are one of the most important things in this day and age. One is that you can, as a freelancer, you can build distribution, which benefits you. So growing an audience and trust by newsletters, LinkedIn, YouTube, and just meeting people, networking, all of these things now create an immense value for you as a person and can translate you directly into different clients. For example, I'm right now trying to build my own personal brand using various different social medias, because I see that if people know you, you will eventually get a lot more inquiries, you will get a lot more opportunities, you will just meet a lot of like-minded people. And if you're a freelancer, that is a must that you have to do. If you're employed, personal branding, nobody really cares about that. I mean, some people do some LinkedIn posts and that's basically it, but nobody really actually builds an audience and builds trust with them through various different social medias or newsletters. And I think if you are a freelancer, again, it puts you on a path to do these things. And I think this personal brand thing is going to become even more valuable as AI and automation takes more and more jobs. If people know you and they trust you online, you will way more likely to have projects and clients than a no-name person from any Google, Amazon, or whatever company. And then the last one is that you can be clients' AI operations partner. So if you pick, for example, some simple stack, write some SOPs, handle prompts, guardrails, and just have some light compliance, you can actually make yourself indispensable to the specific process for that company. You see, a lot of people want AI, a lot of people want results and outcomes. If you position yourself within, in the client's pipeline, the way where you handle all of the AI upside, you handle all of the AI operations, you are the one that is producing the outcome. It's going to be very, very difficult for that company to basically fire you, lay you off, or just stop working with you, because you will position yourself as very indispensable. If they lose you, they lose all of the AI automations, all of the AI upside, all of the outcomes that you actually promised them. This is one of the key things that separates freelancer from an employee. Employee cannot become an AI operations specialist because there are too many people in the same company. The seniors are probably doing all of the automations themselves, or even if they are allowing others to do that, it's just they're implementing to replace you. If you start working with the client, they don't want to replace you. They want to get the outcome. While they're getting the outcome, they're happy. And as long as you provide them with all of that, you're going to be set. Look, I'm sure I'm very biased here because I've been a freelancer for so long. I barely had any kind of full-time jobs. I had a couple of them in my lifetime a long time ago, but the rest was basically just me freelancing all of this time. But seeing what is happening in the world right now, I can't help but see the need for people to take things into their own hands. I think freelancing is one way where you are responsible for yourself and for your income and for your well-being, and basically taking things into your own hands, I think opens up a door for people to do more than they would have done if they are employed at any given company. Freelancing teaches you to be independent and not rely on anyone for your future. It's your future that you must care about, and freelancing makes you independent. It makes you detach yourself from any given company, any given salary or a job. It sometimes makes things a bit uncertain, but I think that uncertainty only motivates you to do more, learn better, learn new skills, process, optimize things, get more clients. It's just, I'm way more motivated than I ever was when working at an agency or working as another full-time job that I had. So in this ever-changing world, being independent is probably one of the best skills that you can have right now. And if freelancing is something you'd like to learn more about, I do have an email newsletter which you can subscribe down below. I share basically everything that I know about freelancing, how I freelance, what strategies I use, how I get clients. So if you want to learn about freelancing, that is the place that I would go. But for now, YouTube is very smart. It thinks that you want to watch this video next. So I'll see you in that one. Until next time.